Hi, welcome back. Today we're going to be covering Essential Elements Book 1, numbered 135 through 139, the C major scale and key signature. Before we get started with anything playing, let's go ahead and take a look in depth at number 135 so we understand what we're doing before we get our fingers in the wrong places. Now let's look on page 34 in your book, which is introducing our new key signature, which is C major. First thing you're going to notice is that, well, there's nothing in the key signature. It's empty. So if you look at the top of the page, we've got treble clef with nothing, alto clef with nothing, bass clef with nothing. Because as it notes, all notes are naturals, meaning no sharps, no flats, no fun in this key. Let's look down at 135 itself, and you'll notice that we do not have any sharps, again, in the key signature. Just goes right from your clef to the time signature in this case, which is 2-4. Now, what we're going to need to know is where our fingers should be going. So, we have our half steps indicated with the little bracket, and what a half step means for us if you're a violin or viola, it means that your fingers are going to be right next to one another. If you're a cello, it's going to mean that you're going from a 1 to a 2 or a 3 to a 4, something like that, where you're not going to skip a finger in between. So let's start with violins or violas. Our first note C we're going to play on 3, then we're going to use open D. We're going to have first finger and then second finger for F. These two are going to be right next to one another. They will probably be very close to touching, if not touching. G is going to be a third finger. Notice we don't have a half step right here, so we're going to have a space between them. If I were to draw you a little picture, here's my 1, here's my 2, and then my 3 is going to have a space. Then we're moving on to the A string where we have open A, then first finger, and then again second finger tight against. Now, if you're a cello, your life is going to be a little bit different. So you're going to start on a fourth finger for your C. We have open D, first finger E, and then we're going to have 2 for our F natural. This is because we have a half step, so our fingers are going to be right next to each other. In your case, that means you're going to go from a 1 to a 2. Then for G, we're going to skip to a 4. So if you're a cello, it's going to be 1, 2. Normally we'd have 3 right here. We're going to skip all the way up to a 4. And likewise, once you get onto your open A string, open 1, and then we're going to end on second finger for C natural. Alright, now that we understand what we need to do with our fingers, let's try playing number 135 in our book together. That's the C major scale. So, if you're a violin or viola, remember, we're going to have our 2 tight against our first finger. If you're a cello, you're going to use 2 and not 3. As always, I recommend using your metronome. I will have mine set at 60. I recommend you do the same when you're practicing at home. Alright, here's what number 135 should sound like. Ready, play. Alright, very nice. A couple things to ask yourself as you were playing along, or if you were listening while you were playing. Was your 1 and 2 close enough to each other, violins and violas? If it wasn't, again, they're going to be really, really close. 1 right on top of your 2. Cellos, did you forget and use your third finger? We don't want to use third, we want to use second finger, remember, for this scale. Now, after you feel like you've got the scale down and you are crushing it, we're going to jump down to 139. This particular song, the Russian folk tune, is using the exact same pitches we just did in the scale, but here's the difference. We're going to kind of mix up the order a little bit, and we're going to turn it into a song. Your rhythms might be a little bit different. Our tempo marking in this one is on Dante, which means walking speed. A nice walking speed for us as we're just getting used to the C major is probably going to be about 80. So I'm going to go ahead, set Mr. Metronome on 80, and I'm going to play it for you. Couple things to note, particularly violins. You'll notice we have a fourth finger in the fifth measure. You do want to use a fourth finger. Do not use open A. I will hear if you're using open A. And cellos, again, make sure you're using second finger, no third fingers in this one for you. Alright, I've got my metronome on 80. and we're going to play 139 together. 1, 2, here we go. Alright, that's all there is to it for number 139. Same pitches we were playing on the scale, violins and violas. Did you use your fourth finger like I asked? I hope that you did. Cellos, did you make sure not to use your third finger? We're using 2 the whole time. Violins and violas, we should have been using our 1-2 pattern, that low 2 the whole time as well. If you didn't, that's okay. That's what practice is for. Go back, try it again, and I hope to hear you playing it all correctly very, very soon.